Welcome back to the channel. We are here again with my new to me Dell 5330 2-in-1 convertible laptop that we just got straight off of the eBay. The last video on this thing is kind of introduced you guys to it and showed you how I like to do like system backups and stuff. I think that's always a good thing to do as soon as you get one out of the box, you know it works and all that. But the next thing I like to do right after that is to put a fresh install of Windows on it myself, so then I know exactly what I've got. And then there's no need to worry about, previous lives of the installation on this thing. It's probably fine, but, it doesn't hurt. It doesn't take very much time. Also, in the case of this one, it came with a 0.5 terabyte SSD. We're going to put a 1 terabyte SSD in it. I'm choosing this 980 Pro because it's what I had in stock already. So free is good, or old money is better than new money. So the first thing we're going to need to do is boot up another computer, ironically. Well, it's not going to be an ironic boot. We're actually going to do it. But we're going to use another computer to create the Windows installation media for this, just so this thing's past life stays in the past. So I don't want to plug a USB stick into this thing that I'm going to continue walking forward, just because why not? I've showed in the past how to make a USB Windows installation media stick, but it's been a while, so we'll try it again and see if anything's changed. One thing I'm uncertain about right from the start is whether or not the installation utility will format the stick to the format it needs to be in. Cutting all that short, pretty sure you need this to be a FAT32 file system. If you don't know what that is, it's okay. It's just a name of something. For years and years, this was a problem because Microsoft limited how big of a volume you could partition. Like this is a 128 gig stick. I think the FAT32 limit for ages was either 4 or 32 terabytes. It was really small. Made it a real pain to do things. You had to download a separate utility to do it. That restriction has been lifted with Windows 11. You can now format up to a 2 terabyte volume as FAT32 if you want. All the other FAT32 limitations still remain. None of that's important for the purpose of today's video. But what I will tell you is this drive is already FAT32 formatted. If you're for some reason using a Windows 10 computer to do this, you will need to use a utility like FAT32 format. If for some reason you're using a Windows 10 or older computer to make your installation media, you will probably need to use a utility like FAT32 format to get it done, because I'm not entirely sure if the Windows utility itself will actually change the file system on the drive. I don't think it will. Side note has been side noted. Let's get another computer booted up so we can make our boot media. Alright, so the first thing we're going to want to make sure we do is make sure we go to Microsoft themselves to do this. And I never add links to this kind of thing in the video description because the links change all the time. So Google is your friend, so we're just going to search for it. Great installation media for Windows, Windows 11. Go to the download, and you can see, by the way, support.microsoft.com. We're probably not getting scam here. So go to the Windows 11 download site. This is all free, by the way. What you pay for is your license, and we'll get to that later. But just know at this stage in the game, if anybody's asking you for money, you've done something wrong. No, this is not what we want. This would be if we want to install Windows 11 on our current computer. We do not. We want installation media. Let's check the notes. And basically just a bunch of blah, blah, blah. Stuff you already know if you're this far. So anyway, download now. Got it on my desktop here. We will find out how long this takes. You may have noticed that was only a 20 megabyte download, so of course it's got some more work to do. So we're going to sign our life away, because we have no choice, of course. Yep, wait. Yeah, well, do not. Yeah, Windows 11. And the one USB media should work for both home and pro licenses. USB flash drive, I've already plugged my flash drive in, and right there it is. Okay, it's going to keep rolling for a little bit, probably. So while it's doing its thing, let's check out something else. I'm going to fire up my Dell, and I'm going to want to be doing a bunch of F2ing. All right, on this duder, witness the splendor of the two-in-oneness. But that's not what we're here to see at the moment. What we're here to see at the moment, and it was just F2 to hit the BIOS on most Dells, including this one. But what we're here to see is right there, our system tag. System tag and express code, pretty much the same thing. I'm not even sure why Dell uses the two. But that is the number we need to provide to Dell that will identify this computer to them so they know exactly what hardware we have. So on my Palm Pilot here, I'm going to write 1JX5TL3. And there are other ways to get that number. You can actually request it from a command prompt. It's probably inside the computer somewhere, physically as well, on a sticker or something. The BIOS is just the easiest way to do it. We're going to come back over here to our browser, and we're just going to go to support.dell.com. Oh, which directs me straight to Dell.com, which isn't what I want. So let's just search for it instead. Okay. So right here is where we're going to want to put that number in that we just fetched. And that's our boy. Now, I've already done this ahead of time, so I don't need to bore you with it right now. But what I've done is I've come over to drivers and downloads. We're going to find specific drivers. Okay. So now, yeah, that's what I wanted. This is a list of every driver for the whole computer. This is everything Dell shipped it with. In some cases, you'll find with Dells that there'll be multiple options, like depending on what video card you have or stuff like that. So I've already actually gone ahead and downloaded all of these, and I'm just going to add them to my Windows stick when it's done being created. But yeah, you can just select them all, download them all. About a 5 gig download. Whether or not we'll need them all, I don't know. But this is a surefire way to make sure we get all of our drivers right from the mothership and that they're not a compromise that Microsoft has tried to take a guess at. I'd rather have Dell's best guess. And there'll also be, like, first thing you see is a system BIOS update. That's actually from this month. So there's important stuff here that I know that Windows wouldn't do on its own and that the laptop doesn't have because it shipped before this. By the way, this is one of the reasons why I like Dell so much. They maintain this repository of drivers for like decades. You can go back through this stuff with a Dell forever. The other manufacturers do it too, but like the last time I went through HP support for this kind of thing, it was an absolute nightmare. It was like every driver HP used that year for any computer. It was a mess. Dell makes it a lot easier with their system tag stuff. So long and short, that's why I like Dell's. They have the best support website, probably the worst support on the phone, but I imagine it's all pretty bad these days. Hey, our flash driver's ready. Cool. Finish. So I'm just going to eject it on out, and I'm going to go toss all my Dell stuff on it, and then we'll get going on our new boy. Alrighty, this should now contain everything I need. Let's see where the USB goes, right there. Now, there's about a 50% chance that this is going to boot right off the stick without changing any settings. And then the other side of that coin is we might have to go into the BIOS and tell it to, so we'll find out. And just because I'm not over the fun of it yet, let's do it 2-in-1 style. Rather than screen cap style. I wonder, it should be a lot easier to turn it on if there were an alternate means of power button. It's going. We'll see if it just boots Windows or if it boots into a Windows installation loop. Looks like it's just going to boot Windows. Alrighty, we'll have to get in the BIOS here in a second. Boop, boop. I don't think there's any effective way to hit F2 with it in convertible mode. And I also just happened to remember, yeah, we're going to put this SSD in it. But since we're here anyway, let's come over here to boot configuration. You can see Windows Boot Manager is at the top of that list. We need to move our UEFI USB 3.0 to the top of that list. There we go. Apply changes. Sure do. And then I'm going to end up shutting this thing down. We'll put the SSD in it. But this should be I think that'll probably be a lasting change, as long as a USB stick is inserted in it. Older Dell BIOS were the same way. You couldn't actually change boot options until you had the boot option installed. So we'll find out. So we kind of already took a tour of this thing in the prior video, so I don't think I'm going to get super in-depth about it here. At least not until I just get it opened up. So I'm going to blast through this right quick. So I have some plastic pick tools here. Found previously that my guitar pick kind of tool was handy to get it started in the corner. And then that tool's got kind of a ice cream scoop shape. That was nice to be able to start lifting on stuff. Because really, as soon as we get a corner started, we're pretty much in. Worth mention that I really hate how everything has gone to this. I don't know why 5 screws wasn't good enough. Frankly, I don't know why the 1 screw of the older laptops is no longer good enough. Correction, 8 screws aren't good enough. We still have to clip it together. Alright, and we are finally in. The next thing of note is there is already a fun video out on YouTube titled something like Destroying Your SSD in 5 seconds or instantly or something. The whole root of that video is that somebody didn't disconnect the battery before they started working on it. We're definitely going to be doing that. Again, I kind of hate that this stuff isn't as easy as it used to be. I think I'm going to take a moment to consult the service manual and make sure I'm not going to pull something out of that. And here it is. Another shout out for Dell support. Battery. This happens to be the 3-cell, but I doubt it matters. This is the part that I'm curious about. I want to make sure I'm not pulling that in a bad way. Okay, I don't actually want to remove the battery. I just want to disconnect it. Super useful information. Disconnect the battery cable from its connector. Okay. I'm going to take a quick minute to inspect with a magnifying glass here. Okay, so a little nerve-wracking, but not hard. This little flag just pulls straight up. Does not appear that I broke anything doing that, so good news. All right, so now our battery is disconnected. Our SSD lives under here. And these screws feel a little funky, so I'm just taking it easy on them. Okay, so this is like a little RF shield or something. How does that? Does that just rotate out of the way? Kind of looks like it would. I believe that is actually just a straight pull. Some plastic tweezers out. Yep. So that drive should just be free to roam now, I think. Yep. So it's kind of a little more kind of captive in the socket. Am I making this too hard? There we go. Old drive removed. Get our new drive ready to roll. It has occurred to me that our concerns about Windows Boot Manager are now going to go away because we don't have one anymore. Because this drive be blank. But now you know, if you happen to find yourself in a situation where that's useful. No real magic here. We just need to make sure we have the alignment key in the right place, which we definitely do. This is the same way the old drive was installed. Usually these want to kind of spring up, but this one seems to be pretty happy to just lay flat. It looks like this blue lock, there is an up and down direction on it. I believe that is the way I took it out. If you can see, there's like a thickness difference in it. Has a little hook dealy there on the motherboard. So the high side of the hook goes out. So we are all locked in now. This also has hooks. See the little dudes there? The little windows on the board that those slot into. Would not think we should have to push down on this very hard. I believe, yeah, this is like a really rudimentary heatsink, and there is actually some tape on the back of it, so makes some sense for that to be a little squishy. Not really in love with the SSD retention mechanism here. I'm going to get a little better look at this just to double check my work. I believe that's the right thing to do. Because of those pads, you do actually have to force this, which is, you know, never what you really want with computer stuff. So I would call it an unnatural act. Okay, it's in there. I don't think we did anything wrong. We'll find out. Time to plug our battery back in. Maybe a little easier said than done. It also requires an amount of force that I find a little uncomfortable, but seemed to work out. Okay, since the back of this thing is such a nightmare to put back on, I'm not going to for the moment. I am going to set it up on this Lexan thing the SSD came with. This is a mouse pad. It shouldn't be conductive or anything, but all the same, I'll just set it up to be sure. And I'm just going to turn it on, see if smoke rolls out, blah, blah, blah. We got keyboard lights. BIOS boot screen saying, hey, we can't boot anything. So that's all good news. So we will stick a USB drive in it. Actually, now that I know no smoke rolls out, we'll stick the back on it. Alrighty. USB sticked up. I'm gonna hit my power button and get her flipped back to convertible mode, just because I think it's fun. Since it only has that boot device, it should just run straight for it. Yep, and that is what happened. So, yep. Oh no! Do we not have touchpad drivers? Really? They work in the BIOS but not Windows setup? Oh, that sucks. I wonder, does the mouse work while we're folded up? It does not. Boo. Does the mouse... Okay, mouse still works while we're open, so we can at least pretend. Alright, next. Yep. Install Windows 11. Yep, we're going to agree that our blank drive can be deleted. Oh, you know what else I should do? Is actually apply power to this laptop. That would be a good idea. It's probably a good idea to do that before we go installing operating systems. Oh, okay. So it looks like the Windows utility did create its own partitions, because you can see there's this unallocated space on my 128 gig stick. So I guess that's kind of cool. The installation media creator might actually work the way it should now, where you just plug a stick in and it goes, so that's neat. But yeah, my SSD is the 1 terabyte drive, 931 formatted. So, yep. Yep. 111 Pro. That's what this had on it. It will probably retain the license key since it did, but if it didn't, we can get another key later. So let's go ahead and go install, and we'll see how long it takes. Wonder if we have touchscreen now. We do not. All right. I showed this in the last video, but we'll go over it again. In order to install Windows without a Microsoft account, which I never ever like doing, I try and avoid it at all costs, you cannot have it connected to a network at the time of installation. So right now it's asking me for a network driver, which makes an amount of sense, but you don't see any other options here to skip or anything. We have to go to a command prompt and enter a command to get this thing to reboot into a state where it will allow me to install Windows on it without a key or without a network connection, which then lets me install Windows without a Microsoft account. So, and to get to that command prompt, we're going to want to go Shift F10. There's our command prompt, and we are going to want to type the command OOBE / bypass NRO, and those are O's, not zeros. We hit enter. Now it's probably going to reboot. Now my question is whether or not it's going to make us do the whole waiting around forever to reload from the stick and all that. Looks like no. A little quicker this time. So yep, United States. I don't have internet. That's what we're looking for. That lets us do this all without a Microsoft account. Enter your name. Like I just called it 5330 last time. I always say no to all the things. I've got a whole video about telling Windows 11 no to even more things I suggest you guys check out. Looks like it's going to do stuff. Alrighty, looks like everything over here is good to go. I'm going to go through all my Dell drivers that I showed you guys earlier, and all of these are executables. You can see they're all applications. It is going to take forever to just run down through all those and run them all. I don't need to waste your time doing that because it might be different for what you're doing anyway. So I'm going to get all that done and then we'll meet back up. And we're back. While I was at it, I took the opportunity to run all my Windows updates and all that good stuff. I also got my cool Dell Touch Pen in the mail today. So we have touchscreen things we can do with that. That'll be fun in the future. By the way, a laptop has a big magnet in the side of it, so you can stick your Dell Touch Pen to it, or presumably pretty much anything else. Yeah, screwdriver's kind of hanging on there. As much fun as I've had with touchscreen cam, I think we're going to go to screen recording for a little bit. Since I have installed OBS, we now have that opportunity. So I wasn't sure if I would need a new Windows key for this thing with the fresh install and everything, but it looks like it preserved the old key. This is because Windows has been associated to the installed hardware for the last couple generations now. But if I would have, I would have come over to our new friends and channel sponsors over at Keysfan.com, and with my promotional link, save a whole bunch of money on all kinds of cool stuff like Office, which we're going to be buying this here in just a minute. Office 2021 is the last version of Office you could get with a perpetual license. Everything since then has been subscription, and you can see all the other products they're offering. Here are the Windows keys if we would have needed one. Windows key for 15 bucks is a heck of a deal. And you can see we actually could have bought a bundle there had we needed both, which I kind of thought we would. They also offer keys for all sorts of other cool stuff. You see Windows Server Edition, selection of game keys, all kinds of neat things. So if you need a key, be sure to run over to these guys. For now, I'm going to come over to the Office key. They also have provided the image of Office 2021. So I'm going to go ahead and grab that right now, get it downloading. So that's going to be the next thing I'm going to install. Going to add to cart, and then it looks like I will need to apply my discount code to my cart. So the code for Office, first of all, will be linked in the description for you guys. But for me, I get to type it in broken62. That should apply my discount for 62% off of Office. And it did. The discount for Windows is broken50. Codes will be emailed to you after purchase at the address you specify. So once again, I'd like to thank our friends over at Keysfan for sponsoring this video. Let's get into getting Office installed and registered. So what we downloaded is a disk image. It should just mount natively in Windows. So basically just double click and it should run. He says, hoping that's what's going on. Yep, that's fine. Yep. We'll see what happens with that. So we don't want 365. I'm going to guess that when we enter our license key, that'll change. I'm immediately concerned because there shouldn't be any download. But we'll see. I haven't done this before either, so my concern may have been somewhat valid. I don't want Office 365. Let me see if I open Office or an Office thing. Yep. Now we have an opportunity to enter our product key. That should put us on 2021 Perpetual. Activate. Yep, we accept all the things. Okay. Cool. I'm going to send this guy for a reboot and see if anything looks more obviously Office 2021-ish. Alright, so if we come over here to add or remove programs, we should be able to see everything installed in the system. Scrolling on down here. There it is, Microsoft Office Professional Plus 2021, English US. So that is Perpetual Office, so we're all good to go there forever and ever. So, at least for me, the next thing to do here is to run another full backup on this thing. So then I'm covered from this point forward, which is the way I want it. You can see I also took some time here doing some customizations that I like to have. Pretty sure I have a whole video about that too that I will link down in the description. Or if not, we're going to have plenty of more chances to go through this again. So let me know down in the comments if you want to see how I do all this stuff I do, like turning off all the privacy stuff and all that. As always, guys, appreciate you stopping in for this video. We'll catch you on the next one.